We have known for quite some years now that TF2 is not exactly Valve's top priority. As hard as that may be to accept for some players, it is the harsh reality that we have come to live with. However, I have noticed that after all this time, people still do not understand or are not willing to accept this. In this video, I'm going to explain to you why I'm fine with the current state of TF2 and hope to convince you of the same. If you happen to live under a rock these past few years, you might not even know that TF2 has not had much love lately. Therefore, let us first go over why TF2 is not really Valve's priority anymore. A thing to realize is that TF2 is not the only game Valve's put time in. As a matter of fact, the biggest revenue does not come from a game, it comes from the platform itself, Steam. In addition, I'm quite sure that compared to TF2's brothers and sisters, Dota 2, CSGO, Half-Life Alyx and others, it falls short in every statistic. Revenue, players, third-party interest, and the list goes on. To a company, it's not about authenticity or the fantastic community surrounding a game, it is all about earning money, and currently, TF2 is not achieving this as much as other games. The lack of major updates and quick delivery of important fixes to exploits such as lag bots, which terrorized servers for a week, also show this lower priority. To think of it, the last major update, other than the seasonal Halloween updates, which is 90% community content anyways, was Jungle Inferno, which is now more than 2.5 years ago. I'm also aware of the free choice that developers at Valve have when it comes down to their projects. But I would like to ask you, would you rather work on one of the biggest games at this time like Dota 2 and CSGO, or in a 12-year-old game that is barely holding itself together? All by all, we'll never be able to determine the exact reasons as to why Valve has not been pushing TF2 as much as it could be doing, but simply put, it is the current reality. Even though these reasons have been apparent for quite some time now, I have found people coming up with counter arguments to prove that this is not the case, why it would never even be possible. There's one that I would like to point out here: number of concurrent players. Even though this is not so much a counter argument, it is something people bring up to counter Valve's current state of things. To be honest, I was convinced that this number was decreasing and it has been since its steady highs of 2014. To my surprise, it has been on a steady increase since it hit its lowest point in May of 2019 and does not seem to be slowing down anytime soon. The question remains though, is it a legitimate reason to question Valve's current motives? To answer that, we must determine if it ever mattered at all, of which the easiest way to look at is the number of major updates released throughout the years. In this graph, I've labeled the dates of major content updates, including the annual updates labeled as major like the Halloween and Smithmas updates. Even though the number of concurrent players was at an all-time average high around Halloween of 2014, the number of major updates was already declining, and that was not because of a decline in concurrent players. To answer the question, no. Given these numbers, I do not believe Valve was ever driven by the number of concurrent players, so why would it matter now? The reason I discuss this is to convince you that you should not let your feelings be determined by some number or whether the game is a priority. I heard people getting all over concurrent players and use it as an excuse to be angry at Valve and their lack of caring. But the reality is what it is. You must ask yourself, do I let something what could be ruin the joy I have with what is now? Do not get me wrong, I agree that more content translates to more joy as there's more to explore and play. However, having expectations and then being let down by either no content at all or an update to localization files causes unnecessary hurt. Therefore, I'm fine with the lack of updates. I find joy in what is available to me now. This does not mean I would not want to see an update for the game in the future, I just simply do not break my head over it. Other than the lack of updates, there are additional more prominent problems present in TF2 these days. All of them cause people to dislike TF2 for what it is. Some cause rage, and others make the game literally unplayable for a certain amount of time. Let's go over some of them now. The killing blow for some people in more remote areas will probably have been the Meet Your Match update. If you do not know, this update transformed the previous matchmaking system called Quick Play into the casual queuing system we have today. However, there was one major advantage that the previous system had, being able to connect to any official server from the server browser. This meant that you could pick the server you want to join based on ping, number of players, and map. With the change to the new system in the Meet Your Match update, this is no longer possible. Players must queue for casual to join any official servers. This means that if you live in a place which is not close to any official servers, you'll have to rely on the system to determine the best server for you, and we all know that has not exactly been its strong suit. This has not caused any problems for me whatsoever, as I live in the Netherlands, which is located close to both Luxembourg and Stockholm servers. In all honesty though, I prefer the new system. It allows you to specify maps before queuing, and you have a casual rank which you can level. A bigger problem are the cheaters. I'm more certain that a huge chunk of players have had to deal with one during their playtime. More recently, however, it has been one of the major annoyances for anyone playing the game. As annoying as they are though, I believe the best approach is to report both in-game and on their respective Steam profile, call a vote to kick, or leave the server and search for a new one. I understand that it requires a lot of self-control to not lash out against the person in question, but be better than those cheaters. It is exactly what they are after. Do not give them the satisfaction of pissing someone off. Take away their joy. There's another thing we all need to realize though. The fact that this game has been around for 12.5 years and to this day still is. There are only so many games that have achieved this. We should be happy to be able to be part of it. There might have been a slowdown in official content, but the community is still publishing new things every single day. Instead of playing casual, give community servers a try. If you like competitiveness, why do you not play a couple of lobbies or sign up for a team to play a competitive season? There are so many options widely available, make use of them. I'm grateful for the 6.5 years I've been playing this game. It is the longest time I've ever stuck to a game and the most playtime I've put in a game. I consider TF2 the best game I have ever played and the most fun game I've ever played. Every time someone asks me if I think TF2 is dying or whether it's already dead, I explain at the hand of these reasons, and from now on, I'll simply link to this video.